What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is gonna be your review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 11, episode 15. So here's the thing: we are back from Tokyo, okay? And everybody is back to business as usual. You know how they do their little montage in the beginning to let you know what everybody has going on, and we see, Cynthia is working on her wine bar, and um, um, that's the only person I remember. E was doing stuff for the wedding. Shamari and Don and Ronnie putting lotion on each other. So we start off, we see Portia. Portia has now officially announced to the world that she is pregnant. When she got back from Japan, she officially, put it out on social media and everything that she is pregnant. And so now we see her and Dennis doing things that you do, that new parents do. They going to the store looking at different products, how many they need. They're talking about they're going to need for everything. And that's not unrealistic. I mean, when I say it's not unrealistic to say, hey, I'm going to need two or three of everything. Because if you do have active grandparents, if you do have active family members, I mean, my nephew, we needed 3 car seats for him because my parents, my sister, myself, we, rather than changing a car seat every time, excuse me, he had 2 cribs. He has a crib at my parents' house. He got a crib at his mama house. He don't have a crib over here. No. But little things like that. So I understood what they were talking about. So, then Portia kind of brought up the topic of what you gonna do with your place. You have more of a more of a bachelor pad. It's got a lot. And I think it's bigger than it being a bachelor pad. I also think it's like you got some old memories there. A lot of when you were single and running the streets. And Dennis was like, so you trying to say you want me to sell my loft? And, she was like, look. She was real nice about how she said it to him. But basically, she was like, yeah. Now, I don't know if she was coming right out saying, let's live together. But she was definitely putting it out there that she wanted Dennis to get rid of the loft. Because she just felt like it wasn't necessarily conducive to a family. I see it. I get it. I understand. The other thing, let me tell you something. Portia got on my nerves for a really long time. But Portia is really, this season, and even at the beginning of the season, Portia was on my nerves. But these last couple of episodes, Portia has really grown on me. And this whole situation with her and Dennis has really grown on me. I think they really do love each other. And I really wish them the best. But Portia sort of went through her story, which we lived it with her. If you've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, you've lived that story with her. But she broke down the whole situation with her marriage, divorce, her getting her house. She gave us some details that she didn't always, people always want to give you the glamorous. But she was like, when I left my marriage, I left with nothing. And remember the whole thing about the prenup and all that, and how she didn't really walk away with anything. And she said, I was living in my mother's guest bedroom, and I had to start from scratch. And when I finally got my credit together, see, that's the thing, people, just because you see somebody on TV, just because you know their name and you can recognize them in a crowd, it does not mean they don't have the same problems everybody else has. She said, I had to get my credit together. Because wasn't no realtor just going to throw her a house because she was Portia Williams, right? She was working on Real House of Atlanta. She did her hairline, her wig line or weave or whatever. She was on the Ricky Smiley show. And she said, I had to build my credit up. She said, so when I bought this house, and remember when she bought the house and everybody was like, why she getting that big house? And she going to be out of it in a couple of months and she can't afford it and all of that. She said, but for me, it was a statement. And it meant a lot that I could afford it, that I was able to buy that house because I know what it took for me to get to that point and get back to that place. And so I had a different mindset, y'all, because I was one of those people that was like, why she buying that big ass house? And I still didn't necessarily think she needed to go there, but I think for her it was more of a look at what I've done, and it was more of a statement for herself, and I can respect that. I definitely can see where she's coming from and definitely respect that. So kudos to you, Portia, and kudos to her and Dennis. I really like them. I think that I don't want to say nothing mean. I think that Dennis was not what she probably pictured herself with. But sometimes when you come out of your comfort zone, and I'm talking to myself more than y'all right now, but sometimes when you come out of your comfort zone, you'd be surprised what you find on the other side, right? Moving on. So we got Candy and Todd. The OLG second location, which we know is open and running, is coming along really nice. Her burlesque show is sold out, honey. And which, of course, we know that went off without a hitch. It looked like they had a good time. Can't wait to see the footage on the show because they. But they're talking about the embryos. Now remember, she has two embryos that are left, and they're thinking about the surrogate route because Candy doesn't necessarily, I don't think physically it's safe for her to carry another child. I think some things happen with Ace that is not safe for her. And so they're having that conversation again about what they want to do. And at first Todd was all for it and everything, but I think he's thought about it, and Todd now is sort of like, I'm cool with the baby side of it. I just don't know if I want to be a part of the process side of it. And Candy is like, what you mean by that? And he doesn't really know how to fully articulate it, but I think it's just, he's like, I'd rather just show up at the hospital and the baby be there. Like, I don't think I want to be a part of the process and I interpret it as get too attached. He said it's just weird. And I could understand that, but, Candy's thing is, well, you need to make up your mind and you need to figure it out. Like, what are we doing? She was like, at the end of the day, if you don't want to do it, we can just not use the embryo. But let me know what you want to do, And it sounds like, Candy's thing was, Todd's the one that wanted all the kids. I think she's happy with Ace. I think she's happy with their family the way it is. Not to say she wouldn't welcome a new baby, but I think she's okay. And her thing is, I'm doing what we agreed that we would do as a family. But if you're okay with where we are right now, we don't have to do anything with that embryo. And I also don't think they need to make a decision today. But yeah, so we'll get back to them. All right, Eva. No, skipping something. We found out some new information today as well, or yesterday, as well, about the situation with Greg and Nene. See, here we were thinking that all this stuff going on with Greg and Nene is because of what has happened with the cancer. Come to find out, Greg and Nene were having problems before he was diagnosed. She said, Greg was grumpy before they got diagnosed. Greg is just not happy. And Nene's thing is, I don't want to be, she said, do I love Greg? That's not a question. But I don't want to be unhappy. And if he's unhappy, then I don't want to be in a situation where we're not happy. And so that it gives you a little more insight as to how they got where they are and why they are where they are. And part of why Greg might have been grumpy is he probably wasn't feeling well and didn't know what it was or didn't know what was wrong. Because see, the thing about cancer, I shouldn't say cancer, the thing about illness is a lot of times our body gives us warnings. We just don't know what those warnings are, or we ignore the warning. Greg probably had things going on in his body that he just didn't know what it was, didn't identify, or just didn't go to the doctor and find out. And so maybe that was affecting how he was acting, how he was treating them, how he was talking crazy to them. Who knows? And so they weren't happy before. But we see, I got a feeling about the situation with Nene. Now, let me say this. Being a caregiver is not easy. And I've seen it in my family. Thank God I've never had to be a caregiver to somebody, like a primary caregiver to somebody. I've been an auxiliary caregiver when my grandmothers were sick and other family members. I was there to help and support. And yes, I did some auxiliary things to be a caregiver. But a full-time caregiver is hard. I've seen it with, like I said, I've seen it in my family, and it is hard on that person. But at the end of the day, it's not any harder than the person that's sick. And I'm on the outside looking in, but being on the outside looking in, my 2 cents is, Nene, you being a little selfish. And I'm on the outside looking in, so let me preface that by saying that I'm on the outside looking in, but I just feel like Nene has been a little selfish with this whole situation. It's me, I, what about me? And we'll get to that, but Marlo is telling her, okay, but what about Greg? Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I do. It is hard to be, but you are in a better position than most, Nene. You can afford help. There are a lot of people who don't have that option. They can't afford to get help. They can't afford to have somebody come in and be a caregiver. They are it. That's it. 100%. So anyway, I'll get back to that. Eva in the wedding. We see Eva and her husband having some family time, or, well, at the time, fiance, husband now. And they look like they have a really nice home life. Miss Marley is taking pictures. And I love, Marley dropped that phone, honey, and Eva ain't skip a beat. Marley looked up like, oh, I dropped the phone. Ain't skip a beat. I love that, because you know what, when you give your child your $1,000 phone and they drop it, don't get mad at the child because they dropped that $1,000 phone, right? And Eva ain't skip a beat. You can tell Eva that it wasn't an issue for her. She said, Marley, go ahead and take some pictures of, and let me see them. She was like, I really think she's gonna be a photographer. It was a good scene. You see Eva cooking dinner, honey. She making them tacos. And a DJ for the wedding came through, and they were talking about the music and, the stuff that you have to do for the wedding. And, Eva's saying, look, my checklist is down to about 10 things. It started at like 100, but she did talk about her being over budget. She did talk about her being stressed out because she was over budget. And, I think that's part of, if you remember back at the beginning of the season when she met with her mom, and she was trying to explain to her mom why keeping to that number was important. Because see, here the thing is, everybody want to add a +1, or everybody want to invite the neighbor from down the street that we lived next to for 3 years, and then they moved, and everybody want to add everybody, but nobody want to add a check that adds up to everybody. Because for every head, when you have a sit down reception, hell, even if you have a buffet, for every head, there's money involved in that. When you are with the venue, they charge you per table, per chair, per tablecloth, right? So all of that adds money. And it's not because, you know what, I don't want to invite you. It's, you don't know my budget. And just because, again, we see people being glamorous and out here living their best life, that does not mean they have unlimited money just falling out the waterfall in the backyard. And the other thing is, who want to spend all that money on the wedding? Maybe they don't want to spend $1 million on their wedding. I hope Bravo kicked in a check, though, because I think they showing some of the weddings. I hope Bravo hit you off with something. But, I'm one of those people, don't get me wrong. I could be mad about stuff and I could be sensitive about stuff, but weddings ain't never one of them, because I get it. Unless it's like a best friend type situation. Like I had one of my good girlfriends, she got married, I didn't get invited, and to this day, they divorced. The baby that they had is in college now, and I still bring it up. Shout out if you're watching this video. I still bring it up. Every chance I get, I be like, oh, the wedding I wasn't invited to? Oh, okay. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, the wedding that you didn't invite, that I didn't go to? Oh, that one? Oh, okay, okay. She be like, if you don't stop bringing up that wedding to the man I'm not even married to no more. I be like, but you ain't invite me. I was like, see, that's what happened. If you invited me, y'all probably still be happily married. But I get it, though, y'all. For real, I do. I get it. Later on in the episode, we see where some things are falling apart as far as her dress is concerned. She's doing 3 changes. She's doing the ceremony gown. She's doing a gown at the reception. Then she's doing her farewell gown. I'm all for that. Again, that's that extra stuff that people like to do. Go for it, girl. Have a good time. Boo, boom, boom. Do your reels and thrills. But the middle dress, for whatever reason, designer, the material that they were going to use, it doesn't exist anymore, so she's got to start from scratch. And that's when we find out how she's over budget and how stressed out she is about the money side of it and just all of that. And then she just buried her grandfather. And, when stuff gets on top, when, piles on piles on piles, it's a lot. So, I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad everything. And like I said, I hope Bravo cut you a little check, girl. All right, date night. We got date night with the DeVoes and Portia and Dennis, and they go to the go-kart. And of course, Portia can't go-kart nothing, or she don't need to be go-karting. So Portia and Shamari, they sit on the sideline while the guys, do their little go-kart, and they have a good conversation. Of course, talking about, love. And Shamari said, now that Portia remembers that we went to elementary, middle school, and high school together, she want to be friends. I was like, Shamari be throwing that little shade. Late afterwards, they play pool, so we see where where they're playing pool and everything. And the guys, it's funny, the girls are playing pool and the guys are off to the side having a conversation. Ain't that a flip? And so the guys are talking about, I'm sorry, I just saw something that caught my eye. So the guys are talking about how, when is he going to propose? And, he's like, hey, I got something for him. I'm ready for this. I got something, for the proposal and everything. And I'm going to have her helicoptered over to the city. And, it's going to be really nice. He said, I'm doing it this week. I'm doing it Friday. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, you're doing it Friday. All right. So we're going to see how that comes down the pike later on in the episode. But the one thing that happened in that scene that I thought was nasty, let me tell y'all something. I ain't never been in the kind of love that's going to make me pick somebody else's nose. Let me be clear with y'all. I ain't never. And I done been in love. I done been in I done been in love. I done been in a little bit of everything. I ain't never been in that kind of love that will make me pick somebody else's nose. I ain't never been in that kind of love. Let me tell you something. My little nephew, who can't pick his own nose, he's a baby. I don't pick his nose. I give him to his mama. Or I get that tissue and I just hope I grab it. He be having big, I be like, ugh, let me get it. Because, a baby don't know how to blow their nose, right? I use a little squeegee thing. Like, I got stuff I use, but me putting my actual finger in his nose to take the booger out ain't never gonna happen. When Shamari told Ronnie he had a booger and she went up in his nose, and then he said, yeah, go on and get it. That let me know that that's something that they do on a regular basis. They wasn't doing that shit for the camera. That's how they roll. And again, if you like it, I love it. But I ain't never putting my finger in nobody else's nose. Please know that. It better be a gun to my head. Okay? There is somebody's life involved for me to do something. That's just nasty. Anyway. All right. So Todd and Candy actually meet with a surrogate. They go down to Dr. Jackie's office, and Dr. Jackie says, hey, not only can she answer all your questions about surrogacy, but she's actually willing to do it again, and she would be open to being a candidate for you guys. And so, that kind of was sprung on them, but they asked some really good questions, and Candy explained how, when they went with Ace, they had the 2 embryos, and one didn't make it, and she got really emotional. And, Todd was like, why are you crying, babe? Well, first of all, Candy cry all the time anyway. But she said, I don't think he gets it, to have somebody else carry your child. That's an emotional thing to think about. And so they asked her about would she be willing to carry both embryos, understanding that they may both survive and you be carrying twins. But, they had a good conversation, and I think the woman did really well answering all of their questions. And of course, they asked the question about, you see it in movies all the time. Can you take my damn baby? And she was like, that is not how that works. So it'll be interesting to see. I think I don't think Candy, is gonna do a whole lot of talking about it. I think we're just gonna pop up and she's gonna make an announcement like Gabrielle Union did to us, honey. She just posted up on Instagram, and we was like, what? They got a baby? So, but I wish them well with it. I know that that's a big decision. I wish them well. All right. Nene has the girls over. She has Cynthia and she has Marlo over. Now, Cynthia is more of a woo, 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 woo. Oh, Nene, woo, woo, woo. Marlo is more of a bitch. Get over it. Greg, the one that's sick, you better get it together. So we see where Nene took Greg to the hospital for his surgery. And he's getting his intestines put back together and the colonoscopy bag taken off. And that's a very serious surgery. And we see where she's taking him to the hospital, and she's telling him, I'm not going to stay. I'm going to go down Swaglicious and do some stuff down to the store. And you could see he was feeling some kind of way about that. I would have felt some kind of way about that too. Like, well, damn, why you not? First of all, if you're not going to stay, don't tell me you're not going to stay. Just go. But you're not going to stay? Like, that's a serious surgery. And then Nene on the way down there is talking about how she just got a lot on her mind and she's stressed out. Greg was like, what you stressed out about? And she won't talk to Greg. She won't tell him what's on her mind. But we see that Cynthia and Marlo were both at the hospital with Nene when Greg came out of the recovery room. And so they are really good friends to Nene. And so we see them out, they're sitting by the pool having, hors d'oeuvres by the pool, darling, and some wine and cheese and stuff. And everything is about Nene. Anytime they try to talk about anything other than Nene goes back to Nene or she talks over them. They were talking about how Portia made the announcement about the baby, and Nene cut them off 2 or 3 times, and then finally she says, "Yeah, well, I'm happy for her." They ask about Greg, and everything is back to her, and I was just like, do you realize that you're making that this everything has to be about you? That you're making this whole thing about you? Like, do you see that? I'm just wondering if she sees it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she don't care. I don't know. But I was just like, I don't know. But finding out that they were having marital problems before his cancer diagnosis does give a little bit of an insight that we did not already have. So, I don't know. We'll see how this whole thing opens up, honey. All right, last but not least, we back to Portia and Dennis. Now, Dennis and told Portia that they have a charity event that they want to go to, and that the head that Dennis is going to, and that they got to go, and that the head of the event is flying them over in a helicopter into the city, so they don't have to worry about traffic and all that, and And at first, Portia was saying she didn't want to go. She wasn't feeling well. She just didn't feel like getting dressed up and stuff. But he was like, she said, I could hear how disappointed he was. And so, I'm going to go on and get dressed and get ready for this party. So you see her getting dressed. You see Lauren taping her and everything because Lauren knows what's up. And you see them getting out the helicopter. And Portia looks really nice. She looked nice. She don't have on her heels. I know she was mad. Because she asked him, she said, do I need to put my heels on now or can I wait? He said, you got a little bit of time to wait. Now, here's my problem. Dennis, why you ain't have on a suit? Like, I understand that, Portia gonna dress up. Portia gonna be Portia now. She might have done a little extra if she knew. But Portia gonna be Portia. Dennis, why you ain't put on a suit? I ain't understand that. I said, I don't like... Portia, you should have had on a damn suit. I mean, Dennis, you should have had on a damn suit. That's the only critique I had because it was really nice. He brought her in there. It was flowers everywhere. He had Lil Mo singing their favorite song, which is a Little Mo song. And she was singing and doing her thing. And she looked really nice. And Lauren was there taping everything. And, of course, the cameras were there. And, Portia knew it was coming. She just didn't know when, where, or how. But she knew the proposal was coming. They had talked about it and all that good stuff. But it looked really nice. It was a good look. I'm happy for them. Of course, she said yes. But I'm just saying, Dennis, why you ain't put on a suit, dude? Like, to me, that was just, anyway. But with that being said, that was the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.